is Suzanne Lynch, and I live in Bridgeville, South Fayette area. Oh, the most frustrating part. I think that there's a lot of reviews to go through, so it's kind of time-consuming that way. We knew some people that had done work for other family members in the area, so I think in my head, I was leaning towards them, and in the end, we went a different direction, which turned out really well. But I think it's just a little bit of time-consuming. It's a time-consuming process. Okay, well, we basically looked at 3, and they all had good reputations, so that wasn't as much of a concern. But there was one contractor that didn't have a showroom. I know myself very well. I am not really good at putting things together, especially if I'm not seeing them in one place. So that was really kind of a deal breaker for me, to be honest, because I know myself, that's just not how I work. Between the other 2, honestly, I did not feel listened to at the other places. Got a good reputation, somebody who has decades of experience, but I feel like I was presented a plan and like, he knows best, and I didn't feel free to say, yeah, but. And when I worked with Missy, it was a completely different experience in that respect. She had the plans up on this big monitor right in the showroom, and she was always looking at me for my reaction, looking at John for his reaction. And she could tell when something wasn't quite what she wanted. She's like, I've got a couple rules, and I remember the one was you have to love it. And so she just kept working with us and talking through what we liked, what we didn't like, and playing around with it in real time on the screen until she looked at my face and she's like, we got it. and she was right. So going into that interview, I still thought maybe we would go with the other remodeler. And after that experience, and I was like, the decision was very simple at that point. Oh my goodness. She exceeded my expectations in just how responsive she was in real time. When I didn't have an absolute, I love it reaction to the initial design, just working with me right away, working with John and me right away, and really being in tune with our reactions. And so, yeah. So, this gets interesting because probably not even 30 minutes into the process, they were, of course, moving the refrigerator, so they had to turn off the water line. And unfortunately, this house was built when CPVC seemed like the way to go, but over time gets very brittle, and the pipe wasn't very secure in there, so when they were turning off, they were kind of twisting the pipe a little bit, and it broke in the wall, and water everywhere. Flood in the basement, which was not supposed to be a part of the project. It's where we had our temporary kitchen set up. And they mobilized so fast. I mean, just having people who are on the staff that have worked with disaster recovery, I mean, they came out, they had blowers, multiple blowers, dehumidifier, the big, and they took care of business. I mean, it was it felt like a very inauspicious start, like, uh-oh. But they took care of it. And then in the basement, we have a drop ceiling. Several tiles were ruined, and they replaced the entire drop ceiling. They replaced part of the padding under the carpeting that had, they didn't feel confident would be still good. They fixed the drywall where the drywall needed to be fixed. So they ended up with a bit more of a project, and honestly, we were happy to get our ceiling replaced. But the fact was, there was no question of, you better call your insurance. There was no question of, we're going to take care of this for you. There was no question of, well, we'll replace these tiles. They'll be similar, but they won't match. nothing like that. They just took care of it. Up here, we have a garden box window, and I was thinking it would be nice to get that caulked around the edges because I have a glass thing there. And there was no question. He's like, yeah, I'll take care of that for you. And it was just, he wasn't even working with clear caulking, but he's like, oh, I'll switch to clear for that. It just was one of those things where they were so responsive. When we had a couple doors that came in that had a tiny crack that I had not noticed, they're like, oh no, we'll get new doors. It just was so nice because I felt like they had my back. And in terms of the people, everyone was super nice, super polite. I just enjoyed meeting them, and I didn't worry about them being in the house because they were so nice. And they took care. We have a very open format. So I'm like, how in the heck are they gonna protect for dust? And boy, they did it. It was amazing. So that was very impressive to me. So just a wonderful crew. We have a special needs daughter. She's an adult, but they were so good with her. I mean, it just really, I think, was indicative of their character. So all in all, I really just had a wonderful experience.
So, what did you like most about it?
I think they took care of us every step of the way. I'm not much of a remodeler or an interior designer, and so I was a little nervous about the process, to be honest, because it's a huge undertaking, very big capital project for us. But I felt like from the beginning to the end, they took care of us, and I never had any concerns. It always seemed like they know their process. They know what needs to happen. They know how to space everything out and prepare us. And it was a great process because they took care of us. Okay. All right. Oh, I would absolutely recommend them because they just really took care of us. The process felt easy because they guided you through it. I was really happy with the selections we were able to make. I was really happy with the people doing the work. And I think if anyone's considering a job like this, I feel like you have to give them a chance because they're worth it. They hit everything I want. I really wanted more counter space and more storage space, and they hit both of those. A couple things that were unexpected. One is that I never had the ability to just have some things here, right to the table. I love that. Another is the electrician, as he was going in, he said, do you want USB connectors on an outlet? And he was talking to my husband. Yes, because all of my recipes are on my iPad, and it's horrible when it doesn't have a charge and I can just have it right there. I don't need to use a plug for it because there's the USB right there. So little suggestions they made like that were awesome. And I just love the space I have. I love the rollouts. I used to go up and down the stairs all the time because all of my things that I don't use all the time, like crock pot and what have you, were stored in the basement where there was space. And now they're right here. So, okay, that was more than one thing, but I just want to say thank you so much. This remodel turned out better than I expected. The process, you made it easy. You were so kind. You were so efficient. You know what you're doing, and I'm so glad that we placed ourselves and our remodel in your hands.
Call 724-935-6000 for your free design consultation.